Hey everybody, welcome to Live Coding with Jesse. And today we're going to implement some search feature, and we've done this way back in Project 1. So, wow, almost a year ago now, maybe 10 months ago. We started with Project 1, so it's been a long time. So we're going to take a look back at what we did in that project and use that to help us get started on this project. So just to give you a quick overview, we're going to use the WordPress REST API. So we're not going to use GraphQL for this, and the reason is with the WP GraphQL plugin, you can't currently search across different post types, and we need to have that. So we have a lot of different post types right now in our WordPress installation, and I don't really want the user to have to pick a post type to search with. That's what we would have to do, or potentially we would have to, like when a search happened, fire off a ton of requests to every single post type with GraphQL, and then get all the data back from all those requests, put it all together, and then show it to the user. So I think it's going to be a lot easier to just use the REST API to make the call. So there's a plugin that you can use for the REST API that allows you to search multiple post types. So that's what we're going to use. So we'll check that out. If it doesn't make sense right now, when we get into it, hopefully it'll make a little bit more sense when you see it. And basically what we're going to do, this may end up being a two-part show, so I may work on it today and tomorrow, depending on how long it takes. So we are going to have to build a little bit of UI to display the search results. So I'll be happy today if we can get just something basic showing up. We can always work on the UI later, but I just want to make sure that we can make calls to the WordPress API and get data back, and just display something, even if it's just some titles of the data. And we'll have to work out, we're going to have to work out where that data goes. Like, will it direct them to a page? It's going to be a little bit weird, and I don't have it all figured out yet. So hopefully we can come to some type of solution as we work through this. And so before we get started, just want to say a few things for those of you who are new, maybe just watching for the first time. In this stream, I'm doing my regular day-to-day work as a front-end developer at a small university. So there will be mistakes. Mistakes are actually probably the unique part about this stream. So we do make mistakes, but then we work through the mistakes together. If you're watching and you have access to the live chat, feel free to put any questions that you have in the chat or any suggestions for me. I take a lot of feedback from you all, and a lot of what you tell me ends up in the project. If you want to check out the code for the project, there's a link in the description, and you could check it out. Everything's on GitHub. Everything's open source. Feel free to take any code from this project and use it in your own projects. If you're looking to build up your portfolio and would like some open source contributions, feel free to submit a pull request to this project. There are issues on this project and on a lot of other projects that we've worked on in the past. So you can take an issue and submit pull requests on there. Don't worry if you're not exactly sure what to do. Just ask me and I'll help you out. And I think that's it. I think that's all that I normally say for this. Oh, one more thing. we split up our coding into 25-minute sessions. So I'll set a timer. If you ask a question during that 25 minutes, I probably won't see it. But after that 25 minutes is up, I'll take a little break, and then I'll answer the questions. So please be patient when asking questions. I will get to all the questions before I end the stream, unless some emergency thing comes up and I have to end it. But if you can stick around to the end, or you can ask a question, and then if you have to go, that's cool, and you can always watch the recording. They are available. The recordings are available just a few minutes after the stream ends here on the freeCodeCamp YouTube channel. Okay, so let me switch my screen, and I said we're going to start out in the repository for one of the projects we did a while ago, and it's CI React. And we're going to check out how we implemented a similar search function here, and then see if we can use a lot of that code in our project that we'll work on today. Let's see. Pages. Resources, dependencies. Okay, we actually have this. I don't know if you see this. This is kind of cool that this pops up and it says there's a vulnerability in one of our dependencies. So we've already fixed this in a branch. We just haven't merge that into master yet. So just want you to know I'm not ignoring this. So this was actually fixed in another branch before this warning ever even came up, but that will be merged into master hopefully soon. Alright, so let me see where utils fetch. Okay, so we might want to grab this utility as well, but let's see how we're doing this. Mount, get categories. There we are. Fetch search term. Debounce search. Nice. Okay, so we have a lot here, and this is all. I was a little bit afraid that there would have been jQuery in this, because we did have a bit of jQuery in this project. So it looks like there is no jQuery. I'm very happy about that. So, okay. We have a lot of filters and things that are going on. I may bring over all of this, because eventually I would like to implement some filters in the search, but probably won't get to that today, but I'll bring it over anyway, and then we can just hook those up into UI elements when we're ready for it. Make sure. Oops, I forgot to start the timer. Okay, so I'm starting the timer now, and while I'm copying and pasting this, I want to ask you all, has anyone done anything with blockchain coding? So I'm talking about like what cryptocurrencies are based on. So I recently started doing just some really basic tutorial coding with Ethereum, and it seems pretty cool. And there's a JavaScript library that lets you work with that in your JavaScript app. So I'm interested if anybody else is into that or done any work with that. Let me know in the live chat, or if you're watching this later on, let me know in the comments if you are working with it. I'd like to hear what kind of things you're doing with that, especially if you're using it with JavaScript as well. All right, so I don't need filter categories. Okay, I think this is all I need. Let's go over here. I was working on the routing, so I said yesterday I would be working on the routing a lot, and that's exactly what I'm doing. So what we'll do is let's make another. I haven't decided exactly how we're going to display search results, so for now I'm going to make another page component, and we'll do everything there. I have some ideas where we may not have a separate page, but we'll see. So let's do a new file, and let's call this search.js. And let's go to here to our untitled page where we just throw things when we need to. And we'll grab, let's see, this, just to give us some boilerplate. And let's get rid of that side, and we'll copy this, move this over, give us some space. Okay, so we won't need the query. We'll get rid of that, and we can keep our header here, and you know, should we keep this here? All right, let's keep the CSS for now. Let's get rid of really all of our Apollo stuff. We don't need the query. We don't need with data. Okay. So let's get rid of this. And oops, I put those in the wrong spot. And we actually won't need that. At least not right now. And we're gonna probably need to bring in some stuff as well. So we'll be copying and pasting a bit more. Let's save that. And let's see. Yeah, so we have this get JSON utility. So let's bring that over. And we're using Debounce as well, so we'll need to bring in low-debounce. Okay. And maybe we'll use, yeah, you know what, I think we were using something different. Yeah, we use material UI or materialized CSS, so I can't use these UI components over again, at least not easily. All right, so let's find this log or this get JSON. Here's our utils and fetch. Okay. Do we have a utility folder right now? I don't think we do. Okay, well, let's make that folder then. Oops. New folder. And within this folder, then we're going to make a new file, and we're going to call this fetch, and there we are. We're going to save that. Now, this was made with some earlier versions of a lot of things, so hopefully this all still works right. And we shouldn't need to do anything else with that for now. ESLint ignore. Let's get rid of that. Okay. Oh, and we need Lodash, debounce. So I just want to verify in our package JSON what we brought over. And I'm just kind of moving around really fast, so please ask questions if you have any questions. I'm happy to slow down and kind of review things kind of in a little bit more depth and explain what I'm doing. And after saying that, I'm going to glance quickly at the live chat to see if anyone's asking questions about what we're doing right now. Okay, I don't think I see anything about this right now. So I do see some responses to what I asked earlier about blockchain stuff. And when we take our first break, we'll get to that. Okay, so what did we... Oops. Oh, okay, so Lodash debounce, cool. So Lodash has a lot of helpers and things you can use, but a cool thing is that you don't need to bring in all of Lodash. So in this case, we just want debounce. So we're just going to bring in debounce. I think that's really awesome that we don't have to pull in, everything if we're only going to use one thing. So we're going to do yarn add, and what else are we going to do? Sorry, I was thinking about something I did earlier, and I realized I forgot to commit what I was doing before I started the stream. It should be okay. I just added a few routes in the router, so it's not a big deal. All right. Okay, so now we should have everything that we need here for these things to work. But right now we really don't have anything going on here. What is this? JSON. Oh, okay, cool. I didn't mean to bring this over, but this is actually what we're going to use here. So I'm glad that I brought this over, because this needs to go up here. So search term is going to go. Let me put this in up here so we can split it apart. So for now, this is where v2, there we go. So we're going to put this in here, and then let's do search. Okay, and I had tested this out with a search term Catholic. Since this is a Catholic school, I figured that would give me some results. And let me fill in the rest here. Okay, so what's happening here is that we're using this multiple post type search. So I am going to take a second here to explain what's going on. So we're using fetch, which if you've never used fetch but you have done some work with JavaScript, this is like XHR. So if you're familiar with that, or if you've used jQuery, what's it called, jQuery? Ajax. Then there's also libraries like Axios that'll help you do these types of requests. But basically, you can request data without a page refresh. It's really nice for form submissions, or in this case, searching. So we're going to make one of those calls, and right now we're giving it the URL. So this is the base URL to access the WordPress. Sorry. This is the base URL to access the WordPress API. And the WordPress API comes standard with WordPress now, so it's not a separate plugin like it used to be. If you have WordPress installed, you have the API, as long as you have one of the newer versions of WordPress. So we've installed in WordPress the multiple post type plugin, which allows us to search multiple post types. So right now we're searching of any post that has the type of page, anyone that has the type of admissions pages, anyone that has the type of chapel pages. This is just a test. We certainly have way more post types, and we're going to end up with a really long URL here. But for now, this is enough for us to at least test things out. And let's see. Okay, so now we're just going to call getJSON, all right, which takes us back to that utility that we had, which is simply just kind of a wrapper around fetch. And it's going to give us back the results in JSON format, which is nice. We can work well with JSON. So we just pass in that entire URL, and then we're saving it to state. So now within state, we'll have data, and we can access data. The reason I would set this as state, is that we'll get a refresh. So as soon as state updates, we'll automatically re-render that component. So as soon as we get the data back, it'll trigger the re-render. So this allows us, to immediately show the results. It's kind of nice. I don't know if you've ever done anything like this and tried to work it out with jQuery, but there's always issues with, like, when does the data come, and if you want to do different things with elements on the page, like making sure the timing is right and everything happens so that you don't end up trying to select an element that doesn't even exist yet. So with this, with React, we don't worry about that. Data comes in, and then now we do a re-render with this data. So some of the other things that we're doing with this is we're doing a debounce search. So we don't have I didn't put in a search input yet, but what will happen with the search input is it'll run these searches while you're typing. So we don't want it to run like constantly. That would make way too many calls. So what we're doing is just kind of slowing down like how many searches happen. And you can check out the low-debounce page. So if you just type in low-debounce, you can get all the more information about exactly how that works. Oh, cool. No way. I didn't realize that this would tell me this. So anyway, Visual Studio Code is telling me a lot of stuff about debounce, and it's telling me the parameters. This is insane. How did I not notice this stuff before? This is so useful. Wow. Wow. It even gives me saying check out this article for more information. Wow. So crazy. Wow. Did anybody else realize that? Okay. So we're getting results. When we get results, this might make more sense once we actually put the input in, but let's see. Prevent default. Okay, so on submit, the first thing we're doing is preventing the default behavior. All right, which makes sense because we don't normally a submit of a form causes a page refresh, but we don't want that to happen, right? So we got to prevent that, and then we're going to actually start the search. So you can see down here we have this fetch search term, and we take the value of that search input, which we will make. And then we run this, right? I'm going to skip over a lot of these filters because we're not going to use them yet. Yeah. Search results. Okay, so this happens on submit, but then we also call this on while on the onChange event. So while we're typing, this Debounce Search gets called, and it'll also run this fetch search term. And I think I probably would have named this differently if I was doing it again, but anyway, because we're not fetching the search term. We have the search term. We're actually running the search. But anyway, I'm not going to rename it right now. All right, so I'm going to check how much time we have in this session. So, okay, cool. We have enough time. So let's build out a little bit of the UI so that we can enter in some data and do a search and then get some of that data back. Okay. Maybe I should, yeah, let me see if I can copy and paste a lot of what we have in this repository. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we're using a totally different UI framework, but for testing purposes, I can probably just copy and paste some stuff over. The styles won't work, but it should at least let us do a search, and then we can work out how to make it look pretty after we know that it works. So pages, resources, let's check this out. Where's the search? Okay, here's our form. Nice. Okay. I think that's all we need. Cool. All right, let's paste this in here. And let's see how this looks. And let me see if I can just go to the search page, if it'll let that happen. Nope. Okay, so our so we're gonna have to change the router a bit to direct this page where it needs to go. I hadn't thought about this when we were doing the router before. It's a server.js file. So let's see. Let's see how we need to do this. I don't think this will work just like that. Let's worth a shot. Whoa. What did I do? Oops, you know what? I forgot to share the ngrok link today. So I'm going to share that as well. You export, use, compose. Maybe that's unported, maybe. Search pages. Okay, yeah, it's trying to get search pages. Export getJSON was not found in utils fetch. All right, so compose is not defined. JS 101. Okay. Oops. Compose. Shoot. Do I need to bring in compose? With Apollo, I don't think I need to. There we go. Okay. I've forgotten that. Cool. All right, so search. I wonder if I need. This is the most terrible looking search thing I've ever seen. All right, but we do have the search. Okay, so let's console log our data. So let's console log this state data. Whoops, what am I doing? This state data. So let's make sure our console is open. Okay, so fetch failed loading. Okay, but it did try to search for the. Okay. So why is this not working? Oh, interesting. Why are we not getting anything back? This works. All right, so our string to search isn't working. So that's what we'll do right after our 5-minute timer here. And let me scroll up and answer as many questions as I can. And let's see, we have like double the viewers that we had the last time I checked. So welcome everyone. If you're joining me before or after I did the intro. So we're going to do 5 minutes of question and answer, and then we'll go back and do another 25-minute session of coding. And if you happen to miss anything, don't worry. You can always watch the recording and figure out what we did at the beginning. Fidel says, will you use the latest features of React, such as Fragment or Portal or anything for the latest? You know what? I try to use the latest features. Like, number one, if I hear about them and I read about them when they first come out, which I don't always have time to do, but I try. And then if there's an opportunity to use them in the project, I try to. So today probably won't be using any of those, but you know, we have done that in previous streams. Sometimes we usually update to new versions of things immediately and try out, you know, whatever new stuff makes sense to try out in our projects. We have Renato says, good afternoon from Brazil. And Noble Savage commented before the stream even started, beard with lots of exclamation points, and the bot banned him for 5 seconds for it. But yes, my beard is getting a little bit bushier. And I know yesterday, who was it? Michael mentioned that in the last video that I did on my channel, you could see all the gray hair in my beard a lot. So is that true? Did anybody watch that video? Is it really bad with the gray hair? Let me know. I mean, I'm okay. I'm not worried about my gray hair. I worry more about the lack of hair up here than the gray hair down here. My kids told me yesterday that I have a lot of hair except on my head. So I immediately told my Amazon Echo, I said, Alexa, buy Rogaine. And that's like a medicine that's supposed to help you grow hair. I didn't really buy it, but I was tempted to. Let's see. Niki says, does bracket syntax for React fragments work in Create React app yet, or do you have to write react.fragment? YouTube chat won't let me post the actual syntax. I don't know. I don't know that did we try it in Create React App yet? I don't think we tried it in Create React App. Nikki asks about, so I was talking about Ethereum coding, and so it's like blockchain, and it's saying, are you using a special language? So Steven Gritter has a course on Udemy for blockchain Ethereum coding. So yeah, the language, hold on, let me scroll over and see what language it was. I don't even remember now. Shoot. All right, so the tutorial that I was doing is called Crypto Zombies. So it's cryptozombies.io, which it just seemed kind of fun. Like, it's kind of like a game, and you learn as you build out these characters in the game. So that's what I'm using. So if anybody's interested in doing that with me, check out cryptozombies.io. And so far I'm only done with like the first like course. So I've created one zombie. But it was kind of cool. It was pretty easy to learn. It's definitely a little bit more rigid than JavaScript. Like, you have to define a lot more like beforehand. But it's not too hard. If you already know about JavaScript, you'll be able to fly through, you know, the first lesson. I did the first lesson this morning in, I don't know, like less than half an hour. Let's see. Abhishek says basic blockchain here as well, using JavaScript. Not something that I really worked on. Would love to contribute though. Cool. David asked what tutorial I was going through, so I guess I just answered that. Solidity, that's it. Niki has it. The name of the language is Solidity. So that's what I've been learning. All right, so the timer's up. Let me write down where I got to in the chat, which maybe about halfway through the chat. So didn't do that well getting through, but we'll get to the rest of it after the next Pomodoro session. 2:11. Okay, so what are we doing? Okay, this doesn't work. Let's figure out why this doesn't work. So I am going to go over to the plugins that I have in WordPress and make sure that that plugin is there and it's activated. It is WPV2 Post API. Alright, so let's take this down. Multiple post type. Alright, I am going to copy and paste the example. And let me verify that that is the right IP address, 104.236.4159. Okay, that is the right IP. Slug about me. Let's take this, just say about. Let's try the example. What was the example? Catholic. And we're not going to do page. Let's do type. Yeah, we should be able to do type. Let's try major. Let me bring up. Do I have the post types up? I don't think I have them up. I have that custom plugin, and that tells me what all my types are. So on my other screen, I'm going to bring up that custom plugin so I can just view what types we have, make sure I get the correct names. So we have, show and rest directories. So we do have directories for rest, and what's the next thing? News. Okay, so those are types that we do have. Alright, this is not good. This did work. Alright, I actually have, let me pull this over just to show you. So I tested this out earlier and it did work. So, oh, that's what's different. It's saying slug here, but we did search. So let me change this. There we go. Okay. So if we do search, it works. Alright, let's go back to our code and see where I messed this up. So search. Alright, so in here, it actually, it does work. Let's verify. Let me refresh that. Okay. So this should work, and this was the same. Let me make sure I didn't mess anything up. Well, actually, I could check the, this will show us what we actually used. HTTP //wp-json wp-v2 multiple post type question mark search and type equals post type Okay. All right. So it looks like we have the right thing being searched for. Maybe. Actually, I think I have an idea. All right, I'm gonna check the live chat, see what you all think. Wow, we got whole conversations going on in other languages. All right, Michael Creel says check search.js 32. So that's line 32. Form get results. So it's this debounced search dot cancel. Okay. All right. So Michael said checking the error log. All right. Let me get rid of this. Didn't we try this before? Copying it in there, we didn't get anything. Okay, so maybe there is something wrong with this. All right, let me check them right next to each other. Multiple post type question mark search and type post type equals page and type admissions page and type. That's crazy. They're the same. Alright, let me do this. I'm going to copy and paste this right here. So it is going to search this. Let me save it just to see what we can get here. So when we hit search, okay. right, what am I? Okay, there is something different, right? Yeah, there's something different between the two of these. What is it? All right, I'm checking the live chat now. You have an extra S, chapel page. Mayor, you're right. I do have the extra S, but it looks like it works either way though. So I mean, at least in the browser, it could work with or without the S. So let's try it again. Yeah, it works with or without the S. Oops. Okay. So, alright, here's what I should be able to do. I should be able to figure out at what point it stops being the same. With like this. There we go. There it is. Admissions page instead of admissions pages. Let's see which one it is. Admissions page. Alright, so let's see. Nah, come on. Okay, so now we at least know that our string here for the URL, it does work in the browser, so it's just not working here. Alright. Okay. So yeah, just to verify, whoops. Let's remove this. Yep, and they are the same now. Okay, so let's take this out and take this out. Oh, actually, let me just go back. There we are. And admissions pages and chapel. I mean, admissions page and chapel page. Okay. Let's see. All right, cool. Hey, Harshit, what's up? Where is get JSON defined? Let's see. So get JSON, we're bringing it in up here in utils folder. So let's bring it up. There we go. Get JSON. you import isomorphic fetch. Is the utils fetch import correct? Yeah, I don't. All right, let me look at this error again. Okay, so we are attempting to make a GET request, right? Import fetch from isomorphic fetch. All right. All right, our saying expand get function. All right, shit. Let me give you the ngrok link too, in case you want to check that out. All right. Hey, we got it to work. Okay, cool. All right, let's put some of this data in here. Title rendered. Alright, let's try to get the title rendered for each of these. Nikki says, so what was the fix? I alt-tabbed for a second. I don't even know. I don't know what... I think the problem was I kept searching for just some nonsense, and so I was getting back an empty array. And then when I searched for a term that I knew would give a result, then I got a result. So yeah, that was fetch failed. Fetch failed. Yeah, actually, it keeps telling me it failed no matter what. But if you look at the network, I get status 200, okay. Success true. I don't know what's happening here. Yeah, I don't understand. Alright, well, let's just display a little bit of this quickly. So I don't have much time in this session, so let me just go, let's go here and say oops, I don't need that. I'm in the layout still. Let's see. Alright, so I'm not talking because I'm just trying to get this done before the timer comes up. So, key item title rendered. Okay. Let's go. Okay. Cool. There we go. All right, it works. All right, so I can't believe I got that in before the timer ran out. All right, so here's what I did. I just said if this state data exists, then I want you to map over all the items. So remember, this state data is an array of objects. So I want you to map over everything, and then we just used an arrow function, so it's going to be inside this map. So for each item, that's going to represent a different object. So I just did a div, I put a key on there, or else React complains that there's no key. So I just used the ID, and then since I'm used to using the WordPress API, I knew exactly where this was, which helped. So item title rendered gave us the data we needed. So now when we search, we get the titles. So let's try it out with a different search term. Chapel, awesome. So chapel and I don't know, student, great. So we're getting different search items based on that. Why are we only always getting 10? Alright, I'll have to work on that, but basically it worked. We have a search function now. We can't do that much with it, but we have it and it works. So Awesome. So now let me go back to where I was in the live chat, where I left off at last time. And I'm going to go through... I'm going to go through all the rest of the questions. Let me see what time it is. Yeah. I'm going to go through all the rest. So if you have a question or comment, please put it in the live chat now, and I will get to everything in the live chat. So the coding portion of this is pretty much over. Depending on what questions there are, we may go back to the code and do a thing or two, but for the most, we're not going to do a whole nother Pomodoro session of coding. Maybe tomorrow we'll go back to this and build out the UI and build out some of those filtering options, because I want you to be able to filter this stuff like you're at Amazon.com, right? I want users to be able to just narrowly filter everything to get exactly what they want. So actually, now that I think about it, that might be more than one more stream to make all that happen, but we'll probably work on it probably for the rest of the week unless something else more important comes up. Alexi says, hello Jesse, are you leveling up as a programmer? I think I am. I think I'm learning more every day. So that's all we can do, right? Just try to keep learning and keep doing what we can. So yeah, I guess I'm leveling up slowly but surely. I don't know, but you all let me know. Does it seem like I'm a better programmer now than a few months ago, or have I gone downhill? Am I past my prime yet? Alexi says, you look like a wizard with that beard. Cool. I take that as a compliment. I like there's something relaxing about just being able to just stroke your beard like this. My wife thinks it's weird. She just laughs at me, but it's fun. And it does protect your face a little bit from the cold and from babies who try to grab your face and give you like battle scars like this one. They go to grab your face and instead they get a handful of beard. So it's definitely functional as well as fashionable. Abhishek says, where are you copying the code from? Sorry, I haven't been that involved with this whole process from the beginning. Oh, okay. Oh, Niki answered it already. It's a good answer. So Niki says he's taken the code from a previous project he's done. It's CI React on GitHub. Yeah, that is. So if you wanted to check out the project we were copying things from at the beginning, it's CI-React on the GitHub repository that we work from. So it's a, what's it called? Organization repository. So FUS-Marcom, M-A-R-C-O-M, is the repository. So my personal GitHub is separate from that, although I'm the owner of the repository, I guess. Yeah, but you can check it out there, and it's also Project 1 in our series of videos. So if you wanted to watch any of the videos when we first implemented that search function, you can go back and check that out. I'm trying to think. Not all of my videos are titled well, but I think I did put descriptive titles for that first project. Niki asks, how does isomorphic fetch differ from regular fetch? So isomorphic fetch, so regular fetch works in the browser. I mean, assuming you have a newer browser or you can polyfill it. Isomorphic fetch works on the server with Node. So that's why we're using isomorphic fetch as well. I'm trying to think. Sorry. We probably didn't need to use it here because this is all happening client side, not server side. But the project where I copied it from, we were actually making client and server side calls, not for the search, but for loading some other data. So that's why it was using isomorphic fetch. So we didn't really need to do that. But, I mean, it's nice to have that utility if we do need to use it. we can use it server side as well. Since we're using Next, we can use it inside that that props. What is that function called? Our I can't even remember. Is it props something? What is it called? And we're not using it here. Where are we using this? Get initial props function that comes with Next. So things in here will run server side and client side. Let's see. Rafael says, good afternoon from Venezuela. Welcome. Thanks for watching. Victoria says, where is the past video tutorial? Help. Okay, so we have a lot of other videos. So there's a playlist on the freeCodeCamp YouTube channel called Live Coding with Jesse. That has all the videos. It's a lot of videos right now, so I'm not really sure how you'd want to go about watching them. I would say maybe just check out the titles and watch one of the videos that seems interesting to you based on the title. Also, people have told me that it helps to watch the video at like 2 times speed and then just slow it down if there's something you're really interested in. And I'll recommend that. I tried it as well. I think the videos, when you're watching the recording, are much better at a faster speed. It makes me look better because I type really fast and I talk really fast if you set it on a faster speed. Let's see. John says, fetch in React is so much easier than jQuery Ajax call. Yeah, I agree. I think fetch is the easiest way to make network requests. Abhishek says, fetch is polyfill for browsers which don't have fetch function. It adds fetch function to your browser, .isomorphic to your browser, period. Isomorphic is implementation of fetch for both Node.js and browser on top of tech. All right, yeah, exactly. So Abhishek was answering the question about the difference between regular fetch and isomorphic fetch. So that's exactly right. The Crapathon says, I just got here. What's so amazing? Visual Studio Code is amazing when... where was it? With Debounce? So if I hover over Debounce, it gives me all this information about Debounce. It lets me know what it does, and then it also says it recommends an article for me to get more information. It gives me all the parameters that I could possibly use, and it describes what they do. It's really cool. Like, it's right there. I mean, normally I would just look it up on my other screen, but being right there is really awesome. Michael says, isn't that up to the author of the extension to write? I'm guessing that that is the case. I mean, I really don't think Visual Studio Code is going out and like searching for this, so I'd imagine that's the case. But either way, it's really cool that this pops up. And if it is the author of this extension, then good job on that. Thank you. That's an awesome feature. John says, with that revelation of amazing code feedback in VS Code, it looks like I may change my editor. Yeah, I mean, that's a really nice feature. All right, wow. So there's a lot of conversation back and forth in a different alphabet than I use. So I'm not going to try to translate all of that. If anybody wants to, if any of those questions were directed to me, then let me know. But it's just a lot to go through and translate right now, so I'm not going to do that on the stream. I might go after the stream and translate everything. Michael, earlier I mentioned that Michael had said that you could see my gray hair in the latest video. So I think I talked about it. I didn't mention what the video was. So I just went on an interview. I interviewed for a position as a full stack engineer, and I did a video on my own YouTube channel, which is linked in the description, just explaining what the interview was like, and then giving some of my thoughts and advice on coding interviews. So if you're interested, please check that video out. And Michael says it wasn't as bad as, or no, it wasn't. Michael says it was only a hair or two. Nikki says not as bad as I thought. Was quite disappointed about that. Yeah, so I don't have that much gray hair. You can't really tell in these videos. The resolution's not as high, but the other video I did was a better camera, and so I guess you could tell. Like I said, the gray hair doesn't bother me. The less hair on my head bothers me a lot more. Okay, John says that the new bracket syntax for fragments does not yet work in Create React app. Okay, good to know. So I do have some projects that I have in Create React app. Some of them we have using Next. So that's just something we're going to have to keep in mind if we use that, to make sure we think about, okay, what are we using with this project? Will it work? Okay, Curious Truth asks, how much time should I put into CSS early on? I actually really dislike it, so I'm really having to force myself to work with it and inevitably end up procrastinating. I would say, and I'm going to read out some of the answers as well, but that others have given, but I would say this: depending on what you want to do, CSS might not be that important for you. If you really want to be a front-end developer, you are going to need to know some CSS, but you can get away with using some frameworks and focus more on JavaScript, and you'll be okay with that. And depending on where you work, you may be able to get away with that even more. If you want to do more of like back-end, or even be like full stack with a back-end focus, then you're probably safe to skip over a lot of CSS stuff and just to focus more on JavaScript. So it just kind of depends on how much front end do you want to do, and then what job. So I guess right now, if CSS is holding you back from learning more, you're fine to just focus more on JavaScript. But if you start to have a job that you really want and you need to use it, of course you're going to have to learn that. But not every developer job are you even going to need to use CSS that much. If they already have a style guide or certain framework that they use, you may not even have a lot of freedom to do very much with CSS. So it may not be a big deal, depending on who else you have on your team. So if you're going to do like freelance stuff and you're going to be expected to do everything on a project, then you're going to need to know CSS. So anyway, hopefully that's a decent answer. Let's see what everyone else said. John says, it depends on your goals and what kind of developer you want to be. CSS is part of the whole design and function process. Pretty important to have a fairly good understanding. Okay, so also a good answer. Okay, so Olzas is explained a little bit about what they're talking about, and I wonder. I'm not exactly sure what language that is. I kind of want to know now. Let's see. But basically, it was just someone asking about like what I was talking about so far. Okay, it's Russian. So it looked like Russian. Let's see. Michael put like a little like laughing, crying emoji saying we'll rebuild Amazon search tomorrow. Yeah, I didn't realize that when I said it, but you're right. That does sound ridiculous that I'm gonna do it just like Amazon search. I'm not. That wasn't my intention. Amazon search is way too advanced for what we're gonna do, but we're gonna try to make our search more like Amazon search. Let's see. Harshit asked if I can test messaging in JavaScript.af, which is one of our side projects. Yeah, I could test the messaging. And then Michael says, the day after that, we'll refine Google's algorithm. All right. Junior says, hello from Africa, from Senegal. I love your live coding. Oh, awesome. Thanks for saying that. Thanks for watching. That means a lot when you all say things like that. I appreciate it. Oh, so Harshit is saying that most mature packages write those like this kind of thing now, if it'll load. So that's really cool. I'm gonna have to kind of try to do this more and hover over things and just see like what extra info. I think this is really useful. It may be able to get like extra functionality out of things, whereas normally I would just use what I know and wouldn't take the extra time to look it up, but this is so convenient. I may be able to find a parameter that may give me a something better. That's cool. I like that. World says, you're only like 30. Why do you have gray hairs already? I don't know. I'm 32. I don't know why. Like, I'm losing my hair on the top, and I have gray hair in my beard. Like, I don't know what's wrong with that. It's like, anyway. Yeah, maybe it's the kids. I do have 4 kids, and so maybe they caused my gray hair. You know what it was? I used to teach high school. That's what did it. I'm convinced that's what did it. I taught high school for like almost 4 years. That must be it. Because that is... Teaching high school students is super stressful. It's so stressful. So I'm going to blame it on that. I mean, maybe I could blame it on semicolons. But now that I use, standard style, I don't have semicolons, so I'm a lot more relaxed. All right, well, I have made it to the end of the live chat. Harshit, I see Harshit's reminding me to test the messaging. I will I will do my best to test the messaging feature. Okay, so I'll be back tomorrow. I don't think I don't think I have any meetings going on tomorrow, so should be able to stream at the normal time. And we'll be working on the search again, kind of refining it a bit. In the meantime, I'm just going to be adding new things to our routing function so you get more of the site accessible from the proper URLs. And I'll be working on making sure all the data is formatted correctly in WordPress, or as correctly as we can get it at this point. So in the meantime, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or wherever else you can find me, or comment in this video. If you're interested at all in the interview process I just went through, please check out my YouTube channel and watch the latest video. And so until tomorrow, have a great day.